waiting for this alarm to go away. You've heard of Pop-Tarts, right? But you know why you've never heard of Mom-Tarts? Because of the pastryarchy. Hello, welcome back to Learning Curves. I'm Anastasia, and I'm still stinking excited to be here. I recorded my last video December of 2021, and now we are in January of 2024. Life has been lifing. Now I'm finally ready to get back in it. I have a clear plan, and that clear plan is that for this year, I drumrolled too early. I am going to teach you how to sew. I'm going to do it. We're going to do it together. As much as I would love to spend all of my time making stuff, learning how to do things and learning how to make stuff, it takes so much time to research and learn how to do a thing, do the thing, and film the thing, edit the thing, and post the thing. So what I've determined is that the content I need to be making right now is stuff I already know how to do. It's like medicine. You're always studying medicine, right? Like you never know all of the things about medicine, but you are at some point a doctor. Probably some of you. Not me. But I've been sewing for 26 and a half years. I was a theater major in college. I studied costume design and construction for a little while, although it depends on who you ask. Some people might be like, okay, but did you? I made things. I went to Erda's. Or was it the other one I went to? I know there are lots of people who sew on the internet and who make videos about it, but I think something that is unique to me is being in a costume shop, you're working on different machines. I've used other people's machines. I've worked on quite a few domestic and industrial sewing machines. So it's sort of like teaching somebody how to drive a car when you've driven a lot of different cars. I can't tell you exactly without seeing it how your machine operates, but I can give you like a pretty good idea. Okay. So while I've been working on projects on my own, at home and looking up different patterns, I see so many no-sew patterns for things. And I'm like, okay, but why? You know, like when I'm looking up a recipe for how to make banana bread, I will find traditional banana bread recipes, but I will also find vegan banana bread, gluten-free, like I'll also find those other options. But when I'm looking up patterns for blah, 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 unless I put sewing pattern, like if I just put how to make a cape, how to make a blah, 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 lots of blah, blah, blahs going around. So often the first thing that comes up is no-sew pattern. Please don't let me take away your no-sew patterns if that's something that you enjoy. But if you want to learn how to sew, I just want to tell you, it doesn't take a lot. If you can learn how to drive a car, you can definitely learn how to use a sewing machine. Think about how most of driving a car is gear, go. You know, like how to operate the sound system or the defrost or the wipers in the back if you got them, or the flashers or whatever. Those are all bells and whistle things that you can totally learn for your personal vehicle. But when you're driving it, I mean, you should know them for like road safety, but just bear with me on this metaphor. When you're learning how to operate a sewing machine, you don't need to know all those bell and whistle things. You just need to know how to make it go. We will be talking also about problem solving, how to troubleshoot some things. Some of those things will be specific to your machine, but I'll be able to give you sort of a first aid. The first thing that you're going to need to learn how to sew, because we're going to be talking about machine sewing, is a sewing machine. I will put a link in the description to the machine that I'm using. I can speak rather authoritatively about that machine, as it's the one that I have been sewing on for 5 years now. I do think that it is a great machine for beginners. We'll talk in more detail later about why I think it's such a great machine for beginners. There's a lot of things spelled out for you, and it's hard to break. That's the short answer. But you can also just go on Facebook Marketplace and get, you know, somebody's mom developed arthritis and is no longer sewing, and so she needs to say goodbye to her machine, and you can then have that machine. Up until a few years ago, I was still using the sewing machine from the 70s, so spending 20 bucks on a sewing machine on Facebook Marketplace is going to be great. If you get a secondhand machine, there's a good chance you might not have certain attachments. You might have to go onto eBay or something to get different presser feet. We'll talk about what that means. It might have a non-standard bobbin size. We'll talk about what that means. But these are things that are additional bells and whistles that may cost you money down the road if you stick with that machine. But if you want to just learn how to sew and see if you even like it, I absolutely recommend going onto Facebook Marketplace, getting an old sewing machine for $25, and then if you do like it, you can sell that sewing machine back for $25, back to pass it along. But you can also invest in a machine for yourself, and you don't have to spend a lot of money. This machine that I use was under 200 bucks. I'll put it in the description box, and they have a lot of different versions of it that have like fancy stitches. It seems kind of like, you know what the stitches seem like? It's like parkour. It's like, I don't need a fancy way to get from A to Z. I would not mind watching you get from A to Z in a fancy way and appreciating your abilities there and your creativity. But I just need to sew in a straight line. The interesting things about what I'm making to me is not the lines. Yeah, so get yourself a sewing machine, get yourself excited. I'm already there. I'm already. I don't think I can do that legally or physically. So all you need to do is subscribe with the button. Be great if you could like the video and get yourself a sewing machine, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you so much for watching.